two stories. One is Pashas Kairach, one is Pashas Pinchas, and we find that Yaakov Avinu, he prayed in connection with these two stories. In Pashas Vayechi, because in one of these stories, Pashas Kairach is connected with Shevet Levi, and Pashas Pinchas, the emphasis is also connected with Shevet Levi, but in the opposite direction, as being the protester and fixing up things. But but who was the problem? Shevet Shimon. As Yaakov Avinu says in Pashas Vayechi, "B'soidom al tovoi nafshi, b'kolom al techad kvoidi." So Rashi brings that all the way like this: "B'soidom, when you speak about the story of Shevet Shimon doing the aveira of B'nai Smoyav, the Sodom, and their secrets or their private affairs, the Sodom al tavai nafshi, let my nefesh not be present over there. It doesn't have to do with me. B'kolam, when they gather together to make a machloket. Also, when the Torah says the Yachas, the ancestry of Kairach, he goes to Levi. He doesn't say Ben Yaakov. That doesn't have to do with me. If we analyze, the Torah put these two things together in Shimon and Levi. One is connected with Ta'ava, desire. The other one is connected with Machloket. Let's speak about these two things for a minute. There are basically two Yitzrei Hara where even great people can fall. The Yetzer Hara never goes to sleep. Even when a person reached high madregas, the Yetzer Hara doesn't go to sleep. The first Yetzer Hara to a person is the extremity of that Yetzer Hara is Baal Pa'ir. Baal Pa'ir, what is the meaning of Baal Pa'ir? The story of Pinchas of B'nai Smoyav, Smoyav brought Am Yisrael to do the Avodah Zarah of Pa'ir. It's a very, very strange Avodah Zarah, Pa'ir. You do something which a person is ashamed of, the most animal part of a person, going to the bathroom, do it in private, and it's an Avodah Zarah. They make it an Avodah Zarah. The guy wanted to put down the Avodah Zarah, so he went in front of the Avodah Zarah, had diarrhea, and then he wiped himself and wiped the Avodah Zarah with his excretion. And let's say the priest of Pa'ir, Gemara says on Avodah Zarah, they praised him very highly. They said nobody was able to this Avodah Zarah in such a wonderful way. What does it mean? What's going on here? What's happening here? So the Sam Sefer explains the concept of the Avodah Zarah of Pa'ir is that man should stop bluffing himself. He should confront himself with his shiflut, his lower, and he's an animal. A man is an animal, and that's it. And therefore he can live like an animal, because nothing's going to help him to escape as being an animal. It's really the theory of today. The theory of today is, what is man? He evolved from a monkey. He's an advanced animal. The monkey couldn't talk. He's a monkey that talks. He's a talking monkey. But that's it. He's just another higher level of an animal. It's denial that the man has an neshama elyoina, that he has an neshama. He's not just another species. He's not the Homo sapiens species. I used to say that they say in some zoo, to express this idea, that so the Goyim have it so infiltrated themselves, so they had a zoo. A zoo has to have a copy of all the animals. And where's the human being? So they paid a guy to be in a cage, and they wrote down on the bottom of the cage, Homo sapien. You write it in Latin, then it makes more impression. Homo sapien. But this is the opposite. This is sheker. The man has an neshama, and that's what the whole Torah comes to tell us. Vayipach ba'achov nishmas chayim. He has a soul from heaven, and that soul can elevate him to the highest. What is the antithesis of Pa'ir? What the Rashi said is an interesting Rashi. At the end of the Torah tells us about the P'tira of Moshe Rabbeinu. It says, who buried Moshe Rabbeinu? HaKodesh Baruch Hu. And where did he bury him? Vayikba Yisai B'gai Mul Beis Pa'or. Nobody knows where the kever of Moshe Rabbeinu is. Rashi explains, there brings the Chazal, the kever of Moshe Rabbeinu was muchan and created from Sheshis Yemei Breishis, Erev Shabbos Ben Hashmoshes. And where was it? Why does the Torah write, the Mul Beis Pa'or, the kever of Moshe Rabbeinu is mechaper, when needs a kapora on the ovoin of Beis Pa'or. The kever of Moshe Rabbeinu is mechaper on avoin Pa'or. Rabbi Mr. Englishman, I was looking for you.
Oh, sorry. No, it's Polish.
I was wondering why you're not here.
Excuse me.
The kever of Moshe Rabbeinu is an atonement on the sin of Pa'er. What is the concept that the kever of Moshe Rabbeinu is an atonement on the sin of Pa'er? What's the connection between these two things? We just were speaking about it. The concept of the Avodah Zarah, the idol worship of Pa'er, is to express the shiftless. How do you translate shiftless? Lowliness, downtrodden, devaluation of man. And this, it says, Vayitzomed Yisrael Lebal Pa'er. Am Yisrael, not only did they attach themselves to Baal, Vayitzomed, they became so engrossed, they became part of them. Samud as it mamish became ingrained in them. And later on, it says in Sefer Yeshua, till today, they write that Am Yisrael says we have not been metayar ourselves, we didn't purify ourselves from the avodah pa'or. So the Chassam Sofer explains this apokorsis, this machshov of apokorsis was very appealing to Klal Yisrael, because Klal Yisrael has ingrained in them anova. They have ingrained in them shiftless. So to say that man is nothing, that he's an animal, it appealed to them from one part, because it's humbling man. What is man? And bemet that's hashkafas hatayra. But the opposite, but it's anova psula, because that's only in connection with valuing man divided from Hashem. But to the contrary, if he's from without Hashem, he's nothing. But if he's with HaKodesh Baruch Hu, with Torah and mitzvahs, then exactly the opposite. There one needs what's called by Yaakov Liboy B'darchi Hashem. The person has to raise up his heart. He has to say, B'shvili nivra olam. For my avodah, for my mitzvahs, the world was created. They can come to somebody in front and tell me, which philosophy do you hold of? Do you hold of the philosophy, Anoichi Ofa Ve'efa, I am dust and ashes? Or do you hold of the philosophy, B'shvili nivra olam? Which one do you hold of? It looks like a contradiction. The teretz is, if without avodas Hashem, I'm looking at my accomplishments to give myself accreditation, then that's Anoichi Ofa Ve'efa. And without the help of HaKodesh Baruch Hu, I'm dust and ashes. But b'shvili, for my avodas Hashem, the whole world depends on it. The whole world was created. B'shvili nivra ha'ila. These are not in contradiction. But the avodah Zarah Pa'or uprooted the hashkafa b'shvili nivra ha'ila. The contradiction to that is lehepech, that man can elevate himself to the highest. And so we see, according to the Das Chazal, who was the protester on avodah Zarah Pa'or and this whole story? Who stopped the Mageva, which came as a result of Pa'or? What's his name? Pinchas. And who is Pinchas in later generations? Elijah the prophet, Eliyahu Hanavi. Yeah? And what does Eliyahu do? Vayale asara hashamaymo. Man can elevate himself to such a point. Man is not shuffled. He can elevate himself to his whole goof. Ish shaloi tolam tamiso kvura. Eliyahu Hanavi didn't have a kever b'chlal. He didn't have a grave. Who else is the antithesis of the hashkafa of Baal Pa'or? Moshe ish Elokim. And he too, he has a kever. But who has his kever is created out of Shabbos ben Hashmoshes. What does it mean out of Shabbos ben Hashmoshes? Moshe ben Hashmoshes of Erev Shabbos, it's in this world, and it's not in this world. Shabbos is Me'er Olam Haba. Bein Hashmashos, it has the property of Chol and Kodesh. The Shabbos is there or not there. That's the whole life of Moshe Rabbeinu. The life of Moshe Rabbeinu was Erev Shabbos Bein Hashmashos. That's his keva. The keva, which represents the place where you put the guf, which is the nartik, the shell of the neshama, where the neshama leaves. Moshe Rabbeinu's keva is not known to anybody, because Moshe's guf wasn't anymore in this world. Moshe Yisrael, that is, his keva can't be known to people. That's the mechaper, that's the atonement on the Avodah Zarah of Ba'ir, Moshe Rabbeinu. But, so in other words, the opposite of Ba'ir, that a man can be mekadesh himself, he can sanctify himself when he uses this world for Torah mitzvahs in the right way. Then it ceases to be a material act, it ceases to be an animal act, it becomes an act of Elokim, of HaKodesh Baruch Hu. And that's what all the brachas before eating and after eating come to help us to embody in ourselves the life of Moshe Rabbeinu. Because the Zois HaBrocha, the Baal HaTurim says something interesting. If you look at the first letters of Moshe Ish Elokim, we're obligated to make how many brachas every day? 100. How do you say that in Hebrew? Meir. Let's look at the first letters. Moshe Ish Elokim. The first letter of Moshe, Mem, Ish, Aleph, Elokim, Hey. What does it make? Meir. And let's look at the last letters. Moshe Ish Elokim. Moshe, the last letter. Hey. Ish. Shin. Elokim. Mem. Hashem. It's to connect us with Hashem. Hashem, HaKodesh Baruch Hu. That a person can live connected with Hashem and then he becomes like a malach. Eliyahu Anovi Malach Abris. Pinchas is Eliyahu. A person can become like a malach. When he lives with the Kedusha, he's elevated. He's not Homo sapien belonging in the zoo. He's Eliyahu Malach Abris. He's Eliyahu that can go Yala Sarah Shemaimah. That's the opposite of thus. But there's another. That's connected with the kibush of Taib. Shevet Shimon fell in Baal Pa'or. But what's the antithesis of Baal Pa'or? Adas Koirach. Did they have anything to do with Baal Pa'or? No. What did Koirach say when he wanted to fight Moshe Rabbeinu? Koirach says, Kol ha'edo, the whole community, Kadeshim. Kadeshim to you. Wherever Kol Mokoim is Rashi Omer, what's Kadeshim to you? Prushim. You know what Rashi says in Pashas Kadeshim? Very good. We have a Talmud Zachem here. Very good. There's somebody to speak to here. Good. So Prushim and Arayis. It's the opposite of Pa'ir. Prushim and Arayis. Kedoshim. The Adas Kairach, they would Tzadikim Gedolim. When the wife of Oid ben Peles wanted to save him, that they shouldn't take him to go to their machnas, so what did she do? She put herself in front of the aisle. She let out from her shaitel. They didn't have a shaitel, that's for sure. She had a covering, and she let out two here. Oh, this is not from our club. She lets out two here. And so she say, that's not ours. We are Hasidim Gedolim. We don't have two hairs covered out. So they were tzaddikim. Where were they nechshal? When a person, first the Yetzer Hara comes to a person and he tells him, you're a behemoth. Just live like a behemoth. Man is nothing. And a person fights the no. Man can be elevated to a malach. Ooh, I'm a malach. If I'm a malach, so I'm great. Comes the next Yetzer Hara. The Yetzer Hara didn't get, when he doesn't get him in Taiva. So paradoxically, this itself, I have self-discipline. I rule over myself. I am chashuv ma'od. I'm so chashuv that I have chashivas. Everybody has to be korei mishtachavim to me. They have to bow down to me. The next, the precious from Taiva, the kedusha, brings the Yetzer Hara, begins working now on gaiva. When a person acts like a behavior, he has no gaiva. The Yetzer Hara doesn't have to get him in gaiva, he gets him in taiva. But when he gets away from the taiva, so Yetzer Hara, right, he was natzech taiva, now let's get him in gaiva. That's a das koyach. And Yaakov Avinu says, I don't have, not the taiva, the shirish of the taiva, the shiftless is not by me, the machloikis is not by me. These are the two things. Either in Taiva, by the way, in Taiva there's no machloikis. When people are about Taiva, they can get along together. Not necessarily, but Taiva, when it lives with al diktuk adin, it's easy to be nice, to be a nice guy with everybody. When it becomes more serious and din, then there can be, paradoxically, that can be machlokes. But these are the two things. They're connected. Yaakov Avinu says, and the opposite of these two things brings, in other words, one is, by the way, the first one, Taiva, is the second one is these two things together, they bring the shleimus. One has to work on both things. That's what Yaakov Avinu put these two things together. Because Yaakov Avinu loy mes. Yaakov Avinu didn't die. Now let's go on to this, what Yaakov Avinu put these two things together. It's very interesting. Let's see. What happens to the Baal Machlokes? The Baal Machlokes, what does the Torah tell us? There's another common denominator between these two stories, which Yaakov put together in Pashas Vayechi. What happens to the Baal Machlokes? What's his punishment?
Swallowed up.
He gets swallowed up in Gehenna and goes live to Gehenna. And the one that fights the Taiva, Pinchas, that protests, he makes a Machlokes Hashem Shemayim to be Meicha, to protest the Averas of Taiva. What happens to Pinchas? Pinchas, Chazal say Pinchas is Eliyahu Hanavi. What does it? What happens to him?
Shem.
Asara Shemayim. He goes Chai to Gan Eden. They're both connected with Chai. Yaakov Avinu says they're both, or the opposite. These two Averas are the shirish, are the root of death, the root of cut off from existence. Chazal tell us that Yaakov Avinu, the Madrega of Yaakov Avinu, says Chazal, lo met. Things that are connected with this connection of Chaim, they're not connected with Yaakov Avinu. Yaakov Avinu lo mes. The ones that get out, and somebody that goes Chai to Gehenna, Yaakov Avinu is not there. Pinchas, he has a connection. He protests the Machla, he protested the Aveira. Pinchas is Eliyahu, he goes Chai lo'olam. So let's talk a little bit about. So these are two things. That's why the Torah says, because Kedusha paradoxically can bring a person down. I'm so Kaddish and so holy, so he gets Gaiva. That's why the Torah says, Kedoshim to you, and then the pasuk continues and says, Ki Kadosh Ani, because I'm Kaddish, HaKodesh Baruch Hu says. The Chazal say like this, Yochel Kamayni, maybe you think you could be Kaddish like me? No. Ki Kadosh Ani, Kedushasi Lemala B'Kedushascha. My Kedusha is more. What's this Yochel Kamayni? Because paradoxically, when a person is Miskadosh, the Yetzer Hara comes and says, all right, you're Miskadosh, Kamayni, now you're like a Kodesh Baruch Hu. You're a Moshel. It's Yochel Kamayni. The Kedusha itself brings the dimion of Yochel Kamayni. And this thing is a person has chumras, it puts him, it makes him, gives him a wrong picture of where he is. It misleads him to a dimion, to an imaginary madrega where he's not holy. That's how the Yetzer Hara works. Either the Yetzer Hara tells a person he's nothing, or if a person fights he's nothing, then the Yetzer Hara tries to raise him up to an imaginary level where he isn't existing. And that's how it gets him down. Either he tells him he's worthless, or he tells him, kids of the Yetzer Hara is manic depressive. Either he puts him down, or he lifts him up over his madrega. These are the two Yitzrei Hara. One is Taiva, and one is Gaia. So that's the Tosfos. Kodesh, you have Kedusha, remember, Kodesh Ani. You're Kedusha, but you're only an Adam. Then you have to remember you're an Adam. Then you have to remember the shiftless Adam. Kedushasi v'mayla Kedushasi. Ani Hashem. Remember, Ani Hashem. You can't compete with Hashem. You have to stay with Achnor. The Kedusha shouldn't create machlokes between people. These two, the fighting of these two Yitzrei Hara are connected with Tefillah. In every Tefillah, there are two preparations for Tefillah. So it says in Sfar. Tefillah, a person has to clean his heart. Tefillah should be an expression of wanting to be close to Hashem. Tefillah. That's what Tefillah is. It's a tshuka. The main Tefillah is for a person to want to get close to Hashem. And by the way, that's connected, this is the 3 weeks now, this is connected with the concept of Golus and Gula. the very title of man is the man is called man connected with prayer. And which prayer? Prayer for the Gula. I want to explain this. Somebody told me something which is fascinating. You know, if you learned the Mishnah in Bava Kama, Arba August Nezikim, and one of the Nezikim, according to the opinion of Rav, what does it say over there? Hashor, Haboyer, Hamave, the heaven. Mave, so one opinion says, Mave, Mem Bei Zayin Hey, Zu Adam, is man, Adam Amazon. Mave, the Gemara says, why is Mave referring to Adam? Because the Adam Mave means, you have in the Gemara, boy Rabbi Yirmiyah. What does the word boy mean? What is boy? You know, in Aramaic, boy, Iboyis. Iboya lahu. What is Iboya? Questions. Ask a question. To look for, to search for wisdom, to search for an answer. And it's man that's in other words, it refers to asking Hashem. Oma shoymer osa boike v'gam lailo im tevayon boy. HaKodesh Baruch Hu is waiting to be goyel klal Yisrael. Oma shoymer HaKodesh Baruch Hu like Ogum Shomas Adonai. Yoshev oleo shimunim. HaKodesh Baruch Hu is waiting to be goyel us. But there's a condition that we have to ask for the gula. But what in Tevayin Boyim? And the Adam is an Adam to the amount that he wants Gula. What's Gula? Gula is connection with Hashem. The word Churban, destruction, is division. The word Churban is very interesting. If you change the order of the letters, you have Chibur. Yerushalyim ke'ir shechubur lo yachad. When Yirmiyah Novi wants to express the Churban, so we read Megillas Eicha on Tisha B'Av, so how does he express it? Eicha, Yoshva, Bodot. Bodot is without. The Didut is loneliness, alone. Without Chibur, without connection. The Geula is the wish of connection with HaKodesh Baruch Hu. But the connection, and that's what Tefillah is. Tefillah, Adam is called Adam, Al Shem, Mava, Ozu Adam, because he's an Adam that he's Mavakish, that he's a Mispalel. And somebody told me something fascinating. You know, you have to write it, without a blackboard it's hard to do this, but if you take the word Adam, you know that in Hebrew the letters have names and you can write them out. If you write out the word Adam, in other words the letters, Aleph, is Lamed Pei. The Aleph you pronounce. The Lamed Pei of the Aleph is hidden. That's called the Ne'alam, the hidden side of the letter, of the word. Lamed Pei. Daled is Lamed Tov. Daled Lamed Tov. Mem, Mem, Mem. If you take these hidden letters, they make a word. You know what word they make? Mitpalel. Right? You got it? You see it there? Take the Aleph, the Lamed Pei of Aleph, and then again you have another Lamed in Dalet, Dalet Tov, and then in Mem. Together you have the letters Mitpalel. Alright. Then the Mishnah says, Mave Zu Adam. Let's see what the hidden letters are of Mave. The hidden letters of Mave are just Mave in the Mishnah in Bava Kama, which means a Mitpalel, that he asked from Hashem. You take the letters of Mave, so let's see, the hidden letters of Mave. Mem is a Mem. It's supposed to close the phone in this year. So you have Mem of Mave, then you have Yud Tov, Beis, Yud Tov, a Beis, Ayin Yud Nun, and Hey, Hey, Hey. Anyway, these letters you figure out afterwards. The hidden letters come to the gematria of the word Tefillah. Tov Pei Lamed 515, which is the 515 was about the Schana. It's also the gematria of Shirah. The Kitzur, in short, Tefillah. The essence of a human being is Tefillah. What's the Tefillah? For the Gula. What is the Gula? Gula means connection with Hashem. And so it says in Shulchan Aruch that a person at the time of tefillah, he should try, like the Mesilas Yesharim says, why was a person created? L'is'aneg al Hashem, to be attached to Hashem. At the time of the tefillah, he should try to destroy in his eyes the hamshacha, the attraction of the pleasures of Olam Hazeh. And instead, he should replace with it the true pleasures of the Olam HaEmes of being attached to Hashem. Tefillah is a tshuka, a desire to connect with HaKodesh Baruch Hu. So the hachonah for tefillah is that's what the Hasidim Rishonim. The Hasidim Rishonim, that they would prepare themselves an hour before the tefillah, was to clean their heart, to retire their heart from the connection with Olam Hazeh. Till they would come out, like it says, they came to a madrega of hitpashtut hagashmiyut, to go out of the Olam HaGeshem. But there's one other preparation for tefillah, and that it says in Svarim that a person should accept upon himself the mitzvah of lahafta ve'echel tefillah. If you go in depth, it's exactly the same thing. There's Avos Hashem. Tefillah has to be Avos Hashem, but Avos Hashem is dependent on the Ava of the Tzelem Elokim, the Zelu Mazeh. Lahafta ve'echel kamoich and Avos Hashem are two halves of the same coin. If a person doesn't love people, then he doesn't love Hashem. Because the love of people is based on the fact that the Adam is a Tzelem Elokim. He has a Tzelem Elokim. Tefillah is the counteraction of Pirut. Tefillah, that's why there's a mitzvah, Smichas Gula L'Tefillah. Because Gula is connection. Churban, Golus, is Hafradah. The Tefillah is fighting the Golus. When a person is in a state of Tefillah, he's in the state of Gula. When he mentions Goal Yisrael, immediately he has to be Mispalel. Because Tefillah and Gula go hand in hand together. It's connection. And to be in the state of connection, he has to be Shalem in the Ava of the Tzelem Elokim, and he has to be Shalem in the Ava of HaKodesh Baruch Hu. That's Gula. And that's the Avodah of the Shlosh, the 3 weeks. The 3 weeks where we are in Mitzvah, there's an Avodah to be Mis'abel on Chuban Yerushalyim, is to be in pain from all those things that cause pure division. Whether it's division between people, which is called the Aveir of Sinas Chinam, whether it's division between the Yem and HaKodesh Baruch Hu. And that's the two things that we began with. The two things that divide man and bring him to the position of death that separated from Yaakov Avinu Lomes, from Chayei Olam, is either Taiva Sayim Hazeh, which the one that counteracted it became Malach HaBris Eliyahu Chai La'olam, V'soyda Malta Nafshi, or Machloket between people, Kairach, who went Chai to Gehenna. The Beis HaMikdash, which is the source of our connection with Hashem, is called, one of the nicknames of Beis HaMikdash is Beis Chayenu, the house of our life, Beis Chayenu. Because Chayim is the opposite of division. And the two things that divide men are the Gaiva and Taiva. The person who cleans his heart from Gaiva, which separates him from people, and he cleans his heart from Taiva, that separates him from Hashem, that's the preparation for Tefillah. Those are the two hachonos for Tefillah, and that's Gula. That's what Gula is.